out with a block of wood, and you can see the outline here of the spoon. But I cut out the outline, and it looks like that. And then this one here, I actually wanted to make two that were identical. So I cut it in half, and I started carving. But this is kind of the progression, and this is a finished product.
That's pretty.
And you would eat off a spoon that size. And then this is one of my spatulas that I've made of the same oak. With the bowl, it just started as a block of wood, and I started cutting and whittling away at it, and I'm getting it down to where it'll have the handle on it, and that'll be a bowl. And then when I made my powder horn, started with just a bull horn, and you cut a piece out to fit into the end of it and set it in there with wax and tacks, and then cut the end down until you've got places to tie onto. And the powder goes in this end, but you fill it out with powder, you put it over your shoulder, and that's what you use to load your rifle. And this is a 1770s flintlock.
Wow.
Hi.
That thing is like humongously long.
It's,
Oh, heavy too.
it is heavy. You imagine walking around with that all day.
You have that around you too, don't you? Or...
Well, the farmers didn't have straps. They just carried it.
Yeah. Okay.
There's always one sitting behind the door in the barn, in the house, in case you had a problem. Age 12 up, you were required to know how to use it. Know what's going to happen, and from age 12 up, you had to be able to help out.
That's true.
The gentleman here will actually give a demonstration with
the rifle. What I have is called a smooth bore. And they also called it a musket, but it's like a shotgun. And this is a leather cover called a cow's knee. Use it to on days like this, keep my lock dry. And how this works when we would shoot, the thing we would do is measure up some black powder, pour it down in there. And actually the patch would be about that size. And the big grease patch we put that on top there, and all goes on top of that. Push it all the way down with the ramrod until it's seated on the powder. You don't want to leave any airspace in there. That's what we call the lock. You've heard the expression lock, stock, and barrel. And there's your lock and the stock and the barrel. And this is called a frizzen. And the reason it's called a flintlock is because of this right here. It's a flint, real hard rock. It's what the Indians use for their arrowheads and other things. This is called the pan. Right at the bottom of that pan is where against the barrel, there's a hole that goes to the inside of the barrel. So when we get ready to shoot it, we prime it with gunpowder, put that down, and okay, it's not loaded, so see, a little bit of spark there. Spark lights that, and it flashes, lights the powder on the inside. And some of the things we use to keep it running here. We make our own lead balls as a lead ladle. And it's got a socket on there so I can cut a stick and use it for a handle. That's a piece of lead. When they buy lead and it'll be in bars. And they chop off a piece, put it in here. Set that in the edge of the campfire, get it hot and it melts. And this is a bullet ball. It's got one already in there. When that melts, you pour that down and let it cool long enough that it sets up, and you open it up and pop it out. This is tow. It's a byproduct when they make the linen material. And this is called a tow worm. It screws onto the end of my ramrod. I wrap some of this around it, wet it, and run it up and down the inside of the barrel there, and it cleans it out.
Right.
But I'll fire off a blank charge here for you. You want to measure this powder. It's when you first get a new gun. Experiment and use different amounts of powder, and you can use different size ball by small increments and different thickness of patches to work up to the most accurate charge. And also, you do not want to pour it from here, because if you just shot and you pour some of the powder in there, it can flash and come back and go with this. A little bit there. Yeah, throw a lot there. priming the pan. Now, if you do this in just that powder lights, that's called a flash in the pan. You probably heard that expression too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Fire in the hole.
Cool.
And that's how it works.
Take every animal has enough brain